Welcome to Big Blend Radio's Toast to the Arts Show, where we celebrate books, music, visual, and the performing arts. So welcome, everyone. We love to hang out with the Tucson Sisters in Crime, based out in Tucson, Arizona. This is a wonderful organization of authors, editors, readers, writers, and you don't even have to be in Tucson to be a member. And right now, we're getting to know everyone. Now, we know our expert family, but we are moving our Big Blend into a new house. We've got our Big Blend Media House doc. It is brand new, and it is our new site. Of course, we still have our old websites, blendradioandtv.com and nationalparktraveling.com, and you will find them upstairs in the attic where you can dig into the archives. And, you know, there might be a few spider webs, even though it's new pixelated construction. So we are building our house pixel by pixel, truly. And you can explore by interest and then also actually take a tour of our digital home. And as we say, our home is your home and the world is our neighborhood. We also have a new newsletter. It is the same newsletter, but it's got a new name and it is called the Front Porch News because we like gossip. And so at this whole changeover, we wanted to get to know all of our Big Blend family of experts a little bit better and so that you can connect with them better. So today we are chatting with three ladies from the Tucson Sisters in Crime. Eva Eldridge, as you know, has been on our show for years as a writer and then travel writer, publishing expert, and also as part of the Tucson Sisters in Crime. And she gets our mail as we travel. So thank you, Eva, and welcome back. How are you?
It's a nice day today.
I bet. I know you're doing a lot in your garden right now in Tucson, right? It's a good year for gardening.
Absolutely. And I'm getting ready to put up shade cloth. So I've been hanging aircraft wire up so I can hang the shade cloth off of it.
Aircraft wire. You never know what could land in your backyard.
Coated metal stuff. So it should last a while and support the shade cloth, which during the wind, which is always, whips around all over the place. This is to help prevent that from ripping off.
Nice. There we are. Some gardening news from Tucson. I like this. Also, we have Elaine Powers. She's been on the show over the years as well, talking about her books and iguanas and also the Tucson Sisters in Crime. And if you want to know who holds the purse strings of the Tucson Sisters in Crime, it's her, but you're going to have to get to her through an iguana or a horse, of course.
Or a 200-pound
turtle. Yeah, a tortoise. No, I would say turtle. I say turtle, truly. I know. Yes. It's a turtle. But welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's a lovely day here. I've got a tortoise roaming outside the window I'm viewing.
We're going to go to Utah to chat with Lyn Worthen, and Lyn is the president of the Tucson Sisters in Crime. She's been on the show before, but under her name as a writer. So welcome back, Lyn. How are you?
I'm doing well. And it's a lovely day here in Salt Lake City as well. My husband is outside mowing the lawn.
Oh, well, there you go. Mowing the lawn.
Mowing the dandelions mostly. Cutting down the dandelions mostly.
Well, you can make dandelion tea, maybe add a little poison and, there you go.
And never know.
We're already killing people. Why not? But Lyn, you're also a publisher, right?
Yes. I am the managing editor and publisher at Camden Park Press.
Okay. So everyone check that out. And then tell everybody about your books.
Well, I write under the pen name Lauren Christopher, and under that name I write the Hit Lady for Hire series and other short stories, mostly from the villain's point of view. So it's great fun. Books I started writing when I had to be too nice to people at work.
Ooh, there we go. All right. So what is your involvement being? Because I think this is a great example of how the Sisters in Crime operate together. You are the president in Tucson. And so, but you live in Salt Lake City. So why the connection to Tucson for you?
Mostly because when I met Eva at a conference in Colorado, she invited me to join the Tucson chapter of Sisters in Crime. We do not have a local chapter here in Salt Lake City, and so I jumped on board. The Sisters in Crime is a nationwide organization, and so many chapters are local to their areas. Others have more remote distribution of their membership. And because the meetings that the Tucson chapter holds are virtual meetings almost entirely, it was a very nice open door for those members who maybe didn't have a home in a chapter that was local to them, but still wanted to participate as members of the organization. And so, we are not restricted by geography in either our membership or our speakers.
And what are some of the benefits you think for people joining the Tucson Sisters in Crime?
One of the greatest benefits is being able to connect with other people, other writers who speak the same language. Mystery writers have our own way of looking at the world. And we write mysteries, we write thrillers, we write cozies, we write suspense, we write a variety of different things that make you go, ooh, but not in the creepy horror way, more in the, I want to figure out who done it, or I want to figure out how not to have it done to me kind of way. So it's a different mindset than some of the other genres, but it always has us looking to learn more about how people work, how people think, and how people either try to get away with having done something nefarious or how to figure out who done it. And again, it's a community of like-minded writers who support and lift each other. And Eva has done a wonderful job in helping to bring some fabulous speakers to the organization well, I've been a member for 2.5 years now, I think, and we've had some really wonderful speakers.
We have our meetings. We call them our meetings, the third Saturday of every month from 1 to 2:30 Mountain Standard Time. And I need to stress that because we're on Arizona time and not like the rest of the world. I'm trying to make a diversified program. So we talk about things like the details, like if you're writing a murder mystery and you want to know how the gun works, or you need to know about the poisons, or if you need to know, stuff about cadavers or whatever details I can come up with. And then we also need to know about writing craft, whether, if we're in the right point of view, and are we in first person or are we in third? Or my big thing right now is dialogue mechanics. So I try to bring somebody in for craft, and then I try to bring in marketing people. And marketing seems to be the toughest thing. So we do have a few members that are traditionally published, that has a publisher that do their publishing for them, but they still need to market themselves, because marketing, most of the publishers, unless you're a big famous person, don't do any marketing for you. And you and I have talked about that, Lisa. So and I get my speakers from Superstars, which is the writing conference Lyn and I attend pretty much every year in Colorado. They have some amazing people in there, and it's nice to be able to tap into that once in a while and get them to speak. I get them from Sisters in Crime. I go to conventions and I meet up or bump into them or attack them somewhere along the line and saying, please, will you speak to us? And then other people are referred to us, or there's something that I've heard them talk about that's, really engaging or interesting. And so I ask them to speak with us. And once a month, it shouldn't be too hard. We also have a social half hour before the meeting. So at 12:30, you can get on and chit chat about what you're doing and what's going on in your life or somebody else's life. And if there's an issue with, like publishing. We have a lot of independently published people, which is a different concept than the trade people that are traditionally published. So there's a lot of questions that come up with that. And we do have a horror writer, Lyn. Trish Aerosmith writes horror. She's writing cozy right now, but she has written.
Yeah, I had forgotten that she does. Yeah. Well, and I have as well, but just it's not my focus.
Yeah. And Elaine has written a short story too. Well, the second wasn't so much of a horror story, though. The first one was.
Yeah, you're talking about we don't write creepy. Well, I consider my first one very creepy.
Yeah. But Elaine, you also write for children, and you do nature things, and wildlife. And so that was something I was going to ask, because it seems like, and I want to get back to these benefits because they're really fascinating. You're hitting so many different angles with the organization. But I love that you are in Salt Lake City, and that, there's so many different kinds of authors over the years that we've done interviews with members. And I'm like, oh, and Elaine was one of the first ones. I think you were one of the first that came on the podcast. And I'm like, wait a minute. We're on a Tucson Sisters in Crime, but then wait, she's got, a tortoise she's talking about, all kinds of different wildlife. So how does that fit in so others can understand that?
Well, I actually started out to write murder mysteries, and then I kind of stumbled into the niche of science-based children's books. But, crafting a picture book is the same as crafting a storyline for a mystery. And so even though the craft writers may be talking specifically about mysteries, it really is applicable to any story that you tell, whether it's a picture book, whether it's a chapter book for children. They all have to be well crafted. They all have to keep the interest going. You can't have a mushy middle in a picture book either. So I have learned a lot from these Sisters in Crime talks that is directly applicable to my writing.
And then the short stories, that also goes into Trouble in Tucson, right? So Eva, you want to talk about that because you now have 2 anthologies. There's Trouble in Tucson and then more Trouble in Tucson because we want more.
The first one came about because Tucson hosted Left Coast Crime, which is a murder mystery convention. And we wanted to put out an anthology for that. So that one came about through Left Coast Crime, and it's I accept stories from all the Arizona chapter members. And I've opened it up because we have a pretty small chapter. And if I waited on just stories from our chapter, it would be a very, very small anthology. So I opened it up to the other 2 chapters, which is Desert Sleuth and Grand Canyon. And I ended up with a bunch of stories. So I get to pick them out. I got to edit them. And then Elaine's company published the first one, right? Her publishing company published the first one. And then the second one, which just came out in March because we have Festival of Books and we debuted it at Festival of Books. That one's more Trouble in Tucson. And that's another collection of short stories in and about Tucson. And the theme was trouble in Tucson. So it didn't have to be murder. It could be theft. It could be other things that happened. In one of the stories in Trouble in Tucson, we had trouble with a tagger, right? So they were tagging somebody's freshly painted house. There was, so it's some kind of mischief. And the second one is the same way, but I wanted specific locations in Tucson. I wanted recognizable locations in Tucson for the second one. So that one is out now, and I actually curated, edited, and published that one myself.
Well, this is what you do. We talked about what everyone else does. I know you do a lot in the Sisters in Crime, but Eva, you work with authors, right, to get them published and out there and do all that office work, which you're not office, but like you're behind the computer. You also write, like I was saying, but then you stepped into the world of like helping everyone else get out there.
Yeah, because I haven't been writing so much and I haven't been traveling as much, not the traveling I did when I'm, go to the national parks or monuments when I'm totally inspired by where I am. I haven't found any place that really like I have to write about lately, but now I'm helping more beginner writers. They write a novel and they want me to edit it and I look at it and I'm going, I really can't edit this. It's not in shape to edit yet. So I've been coaching people. The latest book, which comes out in May 5th, is called Have Bets Will Travel. It's a memoir. I did not edit this at all. This is basically a vanity press. I published this book for him, and it looks fantastic. And I have it out on Amazon and Ingram Spark and Draft to Digital in electronic and print forms, and it's up for pre-order right now, but it's going to be available.
Looks like a fun book. It does.
It's a huge book. It's 464 pages long. Yeah.
No, that's cool.
And the guy's writing style is quite interesting. Like I said, I didn't edit it. I'm not taking responsibility for content and the way it's presented, but I still find it pretty interesting because the man has a very interesting life, and the way he tells it comes across that way. So,
cool.
Anyway, I'm doing a little bit of that. I'm gonna explore the world of images, the books with images in digital form, because I have a new client that wants to do that. So things are coming up.
And then you do the publishing side too, Lyn. So that whole world, because it's so interesting because of the whole big press, right? The whole, we want to be, published by Penguin or Simon & Schuster and all of those, right? Yes, that can happen and it's great. But no, they don't really help you through it when it comes to the financing and even the marketing. And that's what I've seen some authors think. If I get published, they'll handle the marketing. And that's really kind of not true. And so the smaller publishers are able to really work together. It's kind of a more intimate affair, wouldn't you say?
In many ways, it is. My press, we do multi-author anthologies. And I tell all of the authors as I bring them in that the success or failure of an anthology is as much on them as it is on me. We are a team, and we work together to help promote the anthology, to share the word about it coming out, so that other readers, Eva's readers, might not have read anything of mine. My readers might not have read anything of Elaine's. If we all have stories in that anthology, we share our audiences, and so we can reach more people. And so I do anthologies in that way. I also, on the side, publish my own books as part of my press, books that I've written under pen names. But one of the nice things about working with a small press, and again, you want to check out the press and see what they're working on, what they're doing, how successful they're being. But one of the nice things about it is we can pivot much faster than a large publisher. It's kind of like the difference between turning a cruise ship and turning a speedboat. We can adapt to changes in the marketplace much more quickly. There is a learning curve to it, but we can change and say, oh, we have an event coming up. We can shift our price, or we want to participate in a promotional activity. We can let everybody know and just send out an email blast and, create some graphics that will go on Instagram. I'm trying to say Instagram and Pinterest at the same time. It's coming out weird. Was listening to a podcast yesterday about someone talking about learning how to market their books on TikTok, which is brand new for me, and I'm still a little iffy on it, but it's worth looking at. We can look at those kinds of opportunities because it's a great time to be a writer. We have so much freedom in being able to create what we want to create, but we also have to learn. We have to learn the craft. We have to learn the business. We have to learn how to wear multiple hats, and that's a great thing. And that's one of that's one of the reasons why being part of a group like Sisters in Crime is so beneficial, because we have people with different skills who we can learn from. We can tap their resources. We can share knowledge, and when we're not sure, we can support each other and say, yeah, you're doing great. This is good. Don't give up. Because writing, I have a mug that says, writing is a job where I get to sit around in my jammies all day and make stuff up. It is a solitary profession, but the greater communities that we build, many of them are virtual. Some people are lucky to have have groups locally that they meet up with, but many of us do primarily find our tribe, our community out in the internet of other people who are trying to do the same kinds of things we are. And being part of something like that is really reassuring when you're sitting there going, I have no idea what I just put on this page. Who wrote this? It couldn't have been anything I did. And so it's nice to have that family, that organization, that community that supports you when you're feeling like you're completely insane for even having attempted this.
Yeah, that's, I think, for writers too, especially like you said, being solitary, and Elaine, do the writers and Sisters in Crime kind of connect beyond the association to like critique each other's work and share work, like beta readers and things like that?
Yes, and they even get together for lunches, and
Eva just did.
Yes, exactly.
Like, where's my lunch?
Well, one of our members got married, and so we're all showing up at her wedding. So yeah, no, it's a community. We try to be supportive. If we've learned something that might be of interest, we share it, because it takes a village to market a book.
It does. It does. It does. And it's always changing. You're talking about like something in a pinch, like, oh, suddenly, this new rule came out on Amazon, or let's not go there. But there's all these different things. Call Eva, But I think, in the conversation and knowing the organization over the last few years, seems like you've got the networking down, you've got the community support, you're learning not only the craft, but the marketing as well. And then you have the opportunity to be published in the anthologies, right? That's another huge thing. And then you have the booths. I mean, we do a show every time right before the Tucson Festival of Books is one of the most premier book festivals in the country, also a nonprofit and also raises money from nonprofits, I believe, from what they do.
Mm-hmm.
But you have a booth that you get together on. So then you're actively marketing together. Is that enough benefits?
Oh, yes.
The Festival of Books is a phenomenon, I think.
Yes,
I mean, Elaine has her own booth, so she's over doing her own thing. But Lyn has joined us in our booth, and she brings people in like crazy. They see her setup, and she has a
What are you
very
doing?
practiced spiel, right? And she brings them in, and then they come and look at it. If that's not their thing, what she's got, then there's a bunch of other people on the, also there's other authors selling their books, and it allows these authors that don't always get out face-to-face time with 150,000 people, maybe.
Amazing.
Or over 100,000 people go to Festival of Books. And now, of course, not all of them are walking by our booth and stopping, but we get quite a crowd through there. So it's a very good event for independently published authors and for published authors. We had Lori Rader Day, who's a very she's a well-known mystery writer, stop at our booth and sign books, and she even brought her own books, which was amazing because I didn't have any for her. So yeah, so that's a Sisters in Crime thing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so everyone, now you know about the organization. Go to TucsonSistersInCrime.org. Lyn, what is your websites that you want to have out for everybody?
My website is CamdenParkPress.com.
And I am going to put this all in the episode notes.
Everything about our anthologies and the novels that I write under the different names, it's all there.
Okay, and then Eva, what is your website for those who say, I better call Eva to get help with my book?
3 sites, 2 author services, and it's the number 3 SIDES, the number 2 authorservices.com.
Okay, and Elaine, yours?
ElaineAPowers.com.
All right, all of those are in the episode notes. And now we get to play the game. Are you ready? I feel like we should play drums. I'm doing as many of these. I think I only have 2 left, and then I have to stop these questions because we don't want anybody to know these questions and listen to a podcast and go, okay, I know what my answers are. It needs to be off the top of the head. And then I have like a whole new set I'm brewing up, and I don't know which is worse, but anyway, just giving you a warm welcome to that. Okay, so this is about getting to know you, and let's go to the first question. Elaine, I'm starting with you on this.
Uh-oh.
What is your spirit animal?
I'd have to say an iguana.
I wondered about that. I thought, is she going to go turtle on me? Roadrunner, but iguana.
No, it's got to be an iguana.
Okay.
I've always had a special connection with them.
Well, they are cool. I'm pet sitting for a lady who's in Venezuela right now, and she sends me all these photos of iguanas, and they are blue rings around their body, like they're banded. Oof, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So, Eva, what is your spirit animal?
Pronghorn antelope.
All right. So that goes from Colorado days, and you got pronghorn down south of you.
Yeah, I don't know, something about seeing those lifts my spirits every time.
Oh, they're cute.
Not that I'm anything like one. I'm not fast, and I don't blend in, but I sure love those things.
You're alert. Yeah. Well, it's cool that just south of Tucson, Buenos Aires National Wildlife Refuge has them, which is so cool. And this time of year, if you go on the wildlife drive, you could see babies.
That's cool.
It's cool. It's one of my favorite things about Tucson is that wildlife refuge. It's just my heart and soul. Lyn, what about you? What are you?
A tiger.
Always been a tiger. That is awesome. They're awesome. I'm the year of the tiger.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, so everybody watch out.
What's your spirit animal, Lisa?
No, I think it would be a tiger or a horse. I think a horse.
I think a horse is pretty good for you because you carry a lot of stuff.
And I kick.
You like walking.
And you pin your ear.
Can I pin my ears? I can. And I love horses so much. I really do. So, a horse. Giddy up. It's the year of the horse.
It is.
And it's the year of the tiger. The year of the fire horse. That's a difference. You're right. Yes. Well done. Well done. But apparently those that are the year of the tiger do well in this year. So I'm happy about that. Okay. So Lyn, what makes you happy? What do you do for fun?
Okay. So somebody was saying, you work at a computer all day and then you go home and you work at a computer to write stories. I'm like, yeah, but that some Some people bake bread or make quilts or do pottery or garden. I write stories. I love to tell stories. And so actually, when I'm writing stories, when I'm creating something and creating characters that become real to me, creating magic that I didn't even know until it came pouring out of my fingers onto the screen, that's fun. And I just love that.
Awesome. Awesome. Elaine, what do you do for fun?
Get out and mingle with non-human animals, whether it's my reptiles here at home, my horse down over at the stables, taking the dog for a walk. Being with another species and knowing that you have an emotional connection to me is very special.
Yeah,
and
it
I
is.
always enjoy it.
Yeah, it is. It is. Eva,
That's
what
great.
do you do for fun? I know this answer,
I
but I
bet you
can't.
you can answer this one for me.
I know.
I put my fingers in dirt. I like playing in my garden.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And cooking.
It literally grounds me. And then right now, because it didn't freeze this winter, I have flowers. There's flowers blooming everywhere. And I don't know, there's some joy in looking at that.
Just the allergy part, man. This spring is killing me. What is going on? I'm dying. Like even now, we're talking all of a sudden I'm going, I'm going to cough, but the flowers are gorgeous. Where we are, azaleas are in bloom everywhere. It's gorgeous. And I do love the new green of the trees, but the pollen, no, but you do have a beautiful garden. And the people who say you can't garden in the desert, well, go hang out with Eva.
Well, Eva gardens. Eva absolutely gardens.
And she does.
Lyn has seen, both of these guys have seen my garden.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and I get nasturtiums from her, from my
I love that.
reptiles.
And they've come back to life since it's cooled off and they're doing well again. So you'll probably get actually fresh nasturtiums again. While there, I thought they were all going to die because it was so hot here.
They're yummy.
We had a very early spring. We had a very early spring, and then it froze over last weekend, and everything is just starting to recover. So a lot of the flowering plants, everything just went too early, but now everything is starting to come back and get little green leaves again. We have a Virginia creeper that crawls up the porch railing, and it had turned all brown, and now the green leaves are coming back out on it. So
watch out; those Virginia creepers can strangle.
Mm-hmm.
They murder. Creeping is not really what they do. They run rampant.
It's like wisteria, absolutely. Murder in the wisteria vine. Yeah. Eva, a life lesson to pass on to someone in the younger generation.
I think it's probably what I've got actually on my Facebook page. You can complain about stuff, but there's a point where you need to get up and go do something about it. Don't just sit there.
I like that. Very good. Lyn, life lesson?
Be open to learning new things. Don't just dig in and say, nope, this is the way it is. This is the way it is. And close yourself off to learning something new.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. Elaine?
And she stole mine. Don't be afraid to try something strange and bizarre that you never ever considered you would do. I learned how to ride a horse at 58, and now I have two of my own horses. You never know where life is going to take you. Enjoy the ride.
Yes.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at Eva. You went to college learning all of these things about publishing, but you started out writing first, right?
I didn't start writing till I retired from working at the phone company.
So, well, you did it part-time too, Lyn Travels, and you did some short stories and poetry.
But I was working for a contractor, not my original job. I retired from my phone company job and then went back and contracted. And that's when I was learning how to write.
She was double timing it. You two-timer. All right. Okay. So now, I like this. Okay. Bucket lists, wish lists, whatever you want to call it, since your crime writers' bucket lists are good. One thing on your bucket list that you want to achieve in the next 3 to 5 years that you are actively working on. So, Lyn, let's start with you.
Well, I'm 12 years into my 5-year retirement plan, so maybe at some point I will actually retire from the day job.
Well, good for you. No, seriously, that's a big deal. And then writing will be full-time, do you think?
Yeah.
Awesome. Eva, what about you?
I want to go to Europe. Of all the places I've traveled to, I've never really done Central Europe or, Europe. Been to Scotland, but that's it. So I know that's a weird thing for travel, but for me in traveling, I'd like to do the classics.
Yeah, no, the classics are there for a reason. One of my best friends just came back from Rome. Ooh, the Mediterranean. There's scandals out there, man. There's, a friend who came back from Rome, it's like, oh, I want to go to Rome. She went, not for long, timing wise, but just, she says that, as much as we say, these are, the typical places people go, but they're really visited for a reason. She's like, it is just mind blowing, absolutely mind blowing. And you can't, she's like, go, even though there's crowds, go, and apparently the food is fabulous. So
And
I'll
right
go
now,
for ravioli.
and right now, Spain is having their big book festival where
Oh,
everybody gets out and
that's
buys
right.
and reads books for, I think it's St. George's Day.
Oh.
But we might have to take a Sisters in Crime tour.
Sisters in Spain.
Yeah.
They're doing it in Spain. Tapas and books and wine.
Sea Sink in Spain. How about that?
Yeah, I like this.
We could get DR to go.
We could.
Well, she'll write about it. She'll put a dog in there too.
And she can translate.
Yeah, there you go. Elaine, what's your bucket list?
To finish a well-written murder mystery.
See, another reason why she's part of Tucson Sisters in Crime.
Yes.
Very good.
Every year it's my goal that, okay, this is the year I actually get that draft finished.
Okay.
And then the next year comes along and I write 2 or 3 children's books in the meantime.
That's cool though. Now I think you're going to like the next one, and you can kick this one off, Elaine. Okay, of course, in the house we have a library. Now, if you push one of the little doors in the library, I don't know, maybe it's a book, you'll end up in a speakeasy. So just be prepared for that. We might want to have some speakeasy fun. But we also will have a media room. So when people go into these rooms, this is where they're going to, if you go in the kitchen, you'll be able to hear cooking podcasts and get recipes. If you go in the media room, you get to listen to interviews with filmmakers and documentary filmmakers and actors. But we thought, well, everyone we know, like, what would it be like if they hosted a chat show, as we say in England, or a talk show, right? A TV talk show, like Johnny Carson or something fun, right? What would your theme song be if you had a chat show in our little media room for fun? So Elaine, because I know you like to sing and you're in that wonderful project, tell everybody about that. You can do that while you're thinking. Tell us about that.
Yes, this weekend, the Tucson Masterworks Chorale is premiering a collection of songs written by our artistic director, Luke Diamond, commemorating the national parks. This is the 250th anniversary, and his goal is to write a song, a choral piece that can be sung either in a formal music hall or around a campfire with a guitar for all 63 national parks. And
That's
maybe
awesome.
there'll be a 64th coming along soon.
Yeah, hopefully in your backyard in Chiricahua.
Exactly. So we're premiering 9 national parks and then the prologue to them on Saturday here in Tucson and then on Sunday down in Green Valley. And I've been part of this project from the beginning, even before he had actually written the music. And I've been very, very impressed with his compositions and his lyrics. He kind of asked me, he might ask my help in poetry, but yeah, he didn't need my help at all.
We'll put a link to the podcast we did with him and you so people can listen to it, because this is not a project that's going to stop, and he needs help with sponsorship to get this recorded. And anyway, I have to bring up our national parks. It's a very important thing. America's turning 250 years old, as you say. And, also our National Park Service is 110 years or 110 years old. Yeah, 110 years old this year. And so it's really important. And yeah, they're our national treasure. So let's support them in all we can. But yeah, what's your theme song? I'm not forgetting.
I'd go with Jaws.
Oh my gosh, that cracks me up so much. Oh my gosh, I love that.
I've always liked that song. And I thought the movie was hysterical. I went with my friend and I'm laughing hysterically, and they almost threw me out of the movie theater.
It's funny. That is funny. Okay, the last lady I just interviewed said, take me out to the ballpark, the ball game. And I thought, what? But yeah, that's her thing. Anyway, so now we got Jaws. That's a new one. Eva, what's your theme song?
It's a acoustical song by Peter Frampton called Hummingbird in a Box.
I don't think I've heard
Nobody will ever have known that one,
no,
but
okay, I'm going to check that out.
It's a beautiful song, and the whole concept of it, I don't know. It sticks with me.
Oh, we're going to have to check that out. We are going to make a Spotify playlist with all these songs for sure, because it's cool. It's cool. Lyn, what's your song?
The theme from the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, man. All right. We're going big. Yeah, that's cool. Now, did Johnny Depp play any of that? I don't know if
Yes.
he did.
Well,
He did.
yeah, he was Jack Sparrow.
But
He was the pirate.
musically.
No, he didn't do the music.
Well, he's a good guitarist.
I think he was busy being a drunk pirate.
Or, yeah, well, there's, there's a whole other thing. We won't get into that, but we could if you want, because it was entertaining. But he is a phenomenal musician, really good. Plays with Alice Cooper, and Jeff Beck when he was alive. But yeah, the Hollywood Vampires, very cool. Okay, are we ready for the next one? Okay,
Sure.
So you're invited to dinner, and at a friend's place, anyone's inviting you to dinner, and they say, any allergies or anything, any sensitivities is a normal thing to do. And then you're driving there and you go, dang, I hope they don't serve this. You get excited to go out and have dinner, someone else is cooking. And in the back of your mind, you're like, please don't serve this, And then you hope, if so, that you have a dog under the table that might help you when people aren't looking. So let's start with you, Eva. What do you not want to eat?
Sweet potatoes with marshmallows and stuff.
Ah, good one. Good one. All right. Lynn, what about you?
Brussels sprouts.
And Elaine?
Internal organs like kidneys and liver.
Okay. You guys have got a good dish going on here. All right. But now, what do you want to eat? Lynn, what do you hope is being served?
Peach cobbler.
Ooh, peach. All right. Elaine, what about you?
Prime rib.
She's going. Now we're getting a nice meal here. Prime rib, Eva, what about you?
Cookies.
All right. Well, this is a full meal. Cookies are what kind of cookies? Do you have a preference?
I actually like ginger or molasses crinkles or ginger stuff.
Yum. All right. We've got a good feast going on. All right. So then the final one is we've got our big blend media house. I mean, we're planting gardens. We have a brewery on site. We have a wine cellar. We have a musical stage outside. We have a music room. I mean, and this is something we're building, as I said, pixel by pixel. And so we want our audience to let us know what they want at the Big Blend Media House, but we want to know, what do you want in the Big Blend Media House? It could be a specific book. It could be furniture. It could be, we just got a peanut butter grinder to grind peanuts. So we got all kinds, it could be anything. And as we build, we will include that. So Lynn, what do you want in the house? It's a mansion. I'm telling you, this thing is massive. We're going to beat out the Biltmore mansion. It's an estate. We have a neighborhood. We have gardens. We have a Monarch way station.
Well, we absolutely must have a wardrobe with a secret passage to somewhere. Secret rooms.
Oh, maybe it'll go to the attic. Well, the bedrooms need a wardrobe. Okay, a wardrobe with a secret passage. Where do you want the passage to go?
Wherever your imagination takes you. It have to be to an imagined place. Place full of wonder and creativity.
Oh, a happy zone.
Sure.
Okay. Elaine, what about you?
A swimming pool. A nice swimming pool.
An indoor.
Yes.
Sure. Do you want salt or chlorine?
I can go.
But it must be indoor so you can swim in winter?
Yes.
Just in case? Okay.
Yeah. And during monsoons, so I can watch the storm but not be struck by lightning.
Oh, that's a really cool thing. I like that. So you need to be able to have glass windows.
Yeah, it's going to be glass enclosed.
So you can see the garden and see the turtles walking around.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because you don't want them falling in the swimming pool.
No, we don't. And animals are not allowed in there. Unless it's a dog, like a retriever can do that.
The iguanas swim just fine.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Eva, what do you want?
A recliner.
She wants a recliner?
with a really nice table next to it, end table.
Okay, now we have two authors who would like a leather recliner. No, one's not an author. A leather recliner in the library. They both said with a table and a footstool, a lamp. Now, are you okay with leather, or do you want something different and in a different room?
I live in Arizona. I'm not sure I'd want leather. I want something fabrics, because you kind of leather, when it's hot, it's not fun. And I don't need a footstool because I have a recliner.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yes, that's right.
The lamp is important also.
Okay. All right. And you're fine with it in the library, or would you like it in the living room or the media room?
The library's fine, or if there's a separate media room, that would be great too. It's feel comfortable as kick up your feet when you're watching movies or something.
Okay, media room. You're going in there and you can watch all the chat shows with all the music. We might have Johnny Carson in there. You never know. All right. Well, ladies, thank you so much for joining us for a fun conversation and to let people know more about the Tucson Sisters in Crime. The websites are all linked in the episode notes. Thank you all and have a happy summer in Tucson. I love it in summer. And so I'm not being sarcastic. People go, what do you mean Arizona in the summer? It's beautiful. It is awesome. And I hope you have a banging monsoon month, but also beautiful time in Salt Lake City. So I hope the lake rises a little bit. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Big Blend Radio's Toast to the Art Show. Please keep up with us at bigblendradio.com and keep up with Big Blend magazines at blendradioandtv.com.